Hey there, Todd Hampson, and this week I'm talking about the most recent released book in the Nonprofits Guide series, and it's the Nonprofits Guide to the Book of Daniel. You can go back and check out an overview for the other books, but again, I'm going through this series kind of in chronological order as the books were released to show how each one builds on each other or connects to each other, and also kind of why I wrote each book. And this particular one, the Nonprofits Guide to the Book of Daniel, I wrote because a few books before that, I wrote the Nonprofits Guide to Revelation, and always wanted to do one on Daniel, but just was waiting until the time was right and waited till we covered a couple of the other topics that I had listed in the other videos. But the Nonprofits Guide to the Book of Daniel is important because if you go to a seminary that still teaches eschatology, they're going to teach Bible prophecy, eschatology with Revelation, the Book of Revelation, and the Book of Daniel side by side. If you take a course on the Book of Daniel, you're going to bump it. You're going to learn more about Revelation. If you take a course on Revelation, you're going to learn about the Book of Daniel and other parts of Scripture as well. But those two go hand in hand. Revelation sits into the framework of Daniel. It's the revelation of the Old Testament, so to speak. The Book of Daniel is where we find out the most information in Scripture about the future end-time evil ruler known as the Antichrist. The Book of Daniel gives us a sweeping history of Gentile nations from Daniel's time all the way to the end of time. The Book of Daniel was written, it's half narrative, it's half prophecy. The narrative section, practically speaking, teaches us how to stand for the Lord in unstable times when the culture doesn't have our back and when evil is rising. And the second half, the prophetic section of the Book of Daniel, is kind of his addendum to the narrative section, the biography of his life, are the prophecies that he was given in that historical time period. And all those prophecies are critical for two reasons. One, the fulfilled prophecies prove that Daniel is inspired by God. There's archaeological discoveries that verify when Daniel wrote the book. The Dead Sea Scrolls verify the book was already well in use before 200 AD. And the events that it's prophesied that critics used to say had to have been written after the fact, many of those happened after 200 BC into the church age. So anyway, the fulfilled prophecy proves it's from God. It's inspired, as all prophecy does throughout the Bible. And the yet future prophecies in the Book of Daniel let us know what to look for in terms of how to put the prophecy goggles on to look at our world through the lens of Bible prophecy. We're promised some amazing things in the Book of Daniel. And also another curious thing about the Book of Daniel, and I highlight this in the book as well, is that it's one of the few books that has more than one language in it. It's roughly half Hebrew and half Aramaic. The Hebrew sections were written to Daniel's people, the Jewish people, and contain prophecies, end-time prophecies and general history prophecies about the people of Israel, the nation of Israel, the Jewish people. And the Aramaic sections are directed more towards the Gentile audience. So it's a book written for all time. It's a book written for all people. It's a book, I believe, and there's some indication of this in the Book of Daniel itself, that in the future tribulation period, people will be turning back and forth between Revelation and the Book of Daniel and the other prophets to figure out what's going on. And particularly, the Jewish people will have a great awakening at the end of the tribulation period. And I believe a lot of that will be because they'll be looking at the Old Testament text of Daniel and understanding maybe for the first time, or definitely for the first time, because as Paul says, one day all Israel will be saved. Zechariah talks about how they'll look upon the one whom they pierced and will realize he's their Messiah. I'm paraphrasing there. But anyway, there's some amazing things in the Book of Daniel from every angle, from prophetic, from eschatological, from practical, like how we can live in this culture today. I believe the Book of Daniel is more relevant now than it's ever been for all of those reasons and more. So anyway, that's one reason I wrote the book, The Nonprofits Guide to the Book of Daniel. And that's the last book that was released. And I've been mentioning this in each video. All of that leads up to the next book that is going to release in October. And it's The Nonprofits Guide to Heaven. Please, if you haven't already, if you're first here in this video, please go pre-order the book, The Nonprofits Guide to Heaven, because the more pre-orders we get, the more people are going to see it, because the different online resellers will put it in prominent places for them to see. If you've been watching these videos and you've heard me say that a zillion times, please forgive me, please bear with me. But if this is the first time you're hearing this video or seeing this or hearing about the Nonprofits Guide series, I would encourage you to please go buy the Nonprofits Guide to Heaven. I believe it's in all the books in the entire series so far, it's the one that has the most potential to reach a non-believing audience. Everyone's curious about heaven. Everyone's curious about eternity. Everyone, especially the more unstable things get out in the world, everyone wants to know, what is there that we really can know about the future? What does the Bible say? And all of those answers are in that book. So anyway, that about does it for this one, but go pick that book up or pre-order it. I really appreciate it. And check out some of the other books. If this is their first time hearing it, check out the other books in the Nonprofits Guide series, including the book of Daniel that we just went over. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.